So now it is my great pleasure to introduce pioneering player and coach, native Detroiter, Negro Leaguer, played in Canada, played in the Dodgers farm system, U.S. Navy veteran, photojournalist. You just could keep going on. Members of 6 different Halls of Fame, including the Wayne State Athletic Hall of Fame and the Afro-American Sports Hall of Fame and Gallery. Ron Teasley Sr.
When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I can recall attending a game out in the stadium. But I didn't see too much of the ball game because I was under the stands sitting up looking for, I don't know what, anything. I was playing in the dirt. But the place was jammed. People came here directly from church.
Ron Teasley, this is a thrill for me. Here we are in Southfield, just for the camera, Michigan, and I was learning a little bit about you, Ron, and I saw that next thing I knew you were in the White House.
All right. Uh-huh.
What did you think when you got an invitation from the White House?
Oh, I was really so elated over it, and the beautiful thing too is that my son was living in Washington at the time, and he got excited about it. So knowing that I was going to meet President Obama, and it was something I was looking forward to with great emotion. I mean, it was fantastic.
You come back from the military, 1947 in the military, and then what connected you with the Dodgers? I mean, what was the moment? How did you go to Vero Beach?
Actually, when I entered Wayne, my first year I batted, I think 420.
Oh.
I went to the Navy. Then when I was discharged from the Navy, I re-entered Wayne State, and that year I had a batting average of 500. Now we had a few games rained out.
Yeah, glad still.
But still, I was pretty good. And I remember one game in particular I played against a pitcher from the Phillies, a Hall of Famer, Robin Roberts. And I got 2 hits off of him. We played him at the Michigan State field. And through the efforts of a well-respected coach in Detroit by the name of Will Robinson, coach / journalist / referee, just an all-around person who eventually, was the first coach basketball coach to coach in the basketball, they call it the highest level of basketball, college basketball.
Right.
Well, so he had a friend named Wendell Smith, who Branch Rickey hired as a photographer to cover Jackie Robinson's all of his activities and appearances, and so I think through that he was able to arrange for a tryout for myself and another baseball player from Detroit by the name of Sammy G. Now Sam was an outstanding athlete. I guess I think he was reported to be maybe one of the best athletes to come out of the Detroit area. He played 4 sports. So they invited us down for a tryout, and that was very interesting. Well, first of all, we were invited to Vero Beach, and the first thing that we were concerned about is I guess it was his first train trip. I had been on a few with the Wayne State team. We used to train once in a while, but we got on the train heading to Vero Beach. I guess we went by way of Washington. When we got to Washington, we changed trains. Now, going from Detroit to Washington, you could sit anywhere on the train. But after we left Washington, they put us on the front of the train, and we were wondering what's that all about. Then we found out that was the part of the train that got the most, I guess, the smoke and just not less comfortable than the rest of the. So we from there we went to Vero Beach, and they greeted us. And by the way, on the way, when we got there, the major league team, the Dodger team, they were departing to go to I think Panama to play some exhibition games. So we had a chance to say hi to Jackie Robinson and congratulate him, and he wished us well and that sort of thing. And so that was quite a thrill as well.
Because I was going to say, in 1948, it was just Jackie.
I don't think Capadella was with us. I think it was just Jackie.
Just Jackie,
Just
and
Jackie.
then really you and Sammy, and probably not many more black people there, were there?
No, no, no. I think we were the first two after Jackie. I mean, after we were.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
I never thought of it that way, but when you think about it, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So
Jackie, Ron, and Sammy. How about that?
Yeah. So we worked out for about 2 weeks, and it was very interesting. We would have classes every day, and we put for breakfast in our uniforms. Have breakfast, have a little relaxation. Maybe 45 minutes later, we'd go to a class, and it was just like being in school.
Yeah.
Every 45 minutes or so, you go to another class. It might be base running. It might be, some other defensive skills, and then we played. That afternoon we played a game, and we did this for a couple of weeks, and eventually we were signed. And I was signed by the gentleman we just mentioned,
El Campanis.
El Campanis. But that was another interesting situation, because when I had been told that you should definitely get a bonus, because if you get a bonus, they've got a little bit more invested in you, and they'll keep you longer. So I mentioned that to Mr. Campanis. He said, well, at this time we're not giving out bonuses. And so I said, well, I'd like to call my father or my coach to see what they thought about it. And he said, well, we really need you to sign right now. It's almost like it's imperative that we sign right away. So I did sign, and we were assigned to play in Olean, New York, in the P.O.N.Y League.
Before I get to there, because I really want to spend a lot of time there, in Vero Beach, did you guys have segregated places, or did you stay together?
Oh, we stayed together.
Okay, so there was no hotel issues or anything like that?
No problems like that. And all the players, they were gracious. No problem with the players. Yeah, they were. I guess that's because Ricky probably wouldn't stand for it,
Right.
And so we played horseshoes together, table tennis, and just ate together. No problems there at all. Now, however, we went into town once to a movie, and we walked in the front, at the front entrance, and they said, well, you have to go around to the back. Well, I guess they gave us a ticket, said, but you enter from the back. And so we went around to the back. Then we went up the stairs to a balcony. And there was, even that balcony was at a partition. So we sat on one side, and the other patrons sat on the other side. And we sat there for about 10 minutes. We said, hey, this is crowded and that sort of thing. So we left after about 10 minutes. We left. So that was a worse, bothering situation that we didn't particularly like, naturally.
Were you and Sammy kind of together in this process? Because I know you both went to Olean, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So were you become friends at that time?
Yeah. We became friends, and before that, I really didn't know each other. He was a year younger than me, and he played at Miller High School on the east side of Detroit. I played at Northwestern High School on the west side, and he, like I said, we were signed, and we did that. Everything was fine. We went to Odeon, New York, and we got on the train. No problem on the train going from Odeon to New York. And the fans, we played the first game. I think I started the first game. Sammy didn't start the first game. I did well. I got some praise for my fielding, and I think I got maybe a single or something. And so we played. We thought we were doing quite well. I think we played 23 games. I got 23 hits, leading league in home runs. Sammy got he played, I think, in 21 games, and he got I think he had 24 hits or something like that. And so at that time we were batting 270. Sam was batting 335, and then the manager, not the manager, one of the, I guess the general manager, came to me and said that, well, we're going to have to release you. And, so he said we have to make room for players from a higher classification. And that was devastating, he just was shocked. And I guess even more shocking was that there was no one to say, well, why did you let them go? No, there was no one ever brought up the matter of us being released like that when we were doing so well. At least I thought we were doing well. Not leading league in home runs, but at 270, it's so. But then Samuel like I could say about 335.
Did you, during those 20-some games in Olean, how did the Olean people treat you?
They very well, very well. Even the newspapers, they gave us rave notices about how well we were playing and that sort of thing. But the fans are great, just super.
Did you appreciate that you and Sammy really broke the color barrier in the P.O.N.Y League?
Yeah. At the time, we were being young as we were. We didn't think about that. We know that Jackie had broken it, so I guess we just felt like we were just two kids that had a chance to make it because of him, but it was a heartbreaker though, It's just so sad, that we really didn't know what to think of it. That's all, So.
And at the time, did it cross your mind at all? I mean, that you were the two guys that were released and both happened to be black, that there was anything about that race?
Oh, absolutely, because there were some players that, so we said 23 games, there was some players who only played maybe 5 or 6, 7 games, and so the handwriting was not on a wall, but the thought just came to us that why us? Then it kind of hit us, that there had to be some.
The Olean Times-Herald has information on the debut and the dismissal, the release of 2 Negro League players from Detroit, Sammy G. and Ron Teasley, who played for the Olean Oilers in the Dodgers farm system in 1948. They were playing pretty well by all accounts, and they were released before midseason because, according to the owner of the team, they were determined not to be a prospect. I think that's a bunch of horse hockey. But without going to the Olean paper, you wouldn't even have that.
But later on, I talked to a couple of players. One player, after I joined, after we were released, we joined the, thanks to Mr. Robinson again, we joined the New York Cubans. And I talked to a player by the name of, Hall of Famer by the name of Buck Leonard.
Yep.
We had played had played a league game against them in Washington, and we were staying at the same boarding house. And so we were sitting on the porch, and one day, and he came out, joined us, and sat down and talked to us about an hour or so. And just one of the things he said was, well, at this time, that the Dodgers were looking for players who might develop in a year or so. And And so they were not taking black French players, bench players. You know, they expected you to be like a Hank Aaron or Willie Mays or Jackie Robinson and play almost immediately. And that's what we were told. Didn't make any things any better for us or to make us feel that much better.
Do you have any regrets at all? You ever think about that?
Well, but I still think about the Dodger situation. That really confounds me because I just never could understand, that we just always think about what would have happened. Watching a game, I said, I wonder if I could hit that kind of baseball. That sort of thing. That was disappointing. And like I say, I think that's why I was able to when I started coaching, I realized the importance of having not putting all your eggs in one basket, and just make sure you have something to fall back on in case it doesn't work out.
Do you remember playing in Jamestown, New York? Do you remember going there at all? Jamestown was in the league at the time. I don't know if your team played in Jamestown.
I don't think we played in Jamestown. I remember a game in about 23 games. It seemed like I should have. But yeah, probably did. I'm sure we played, either our place or their place. And but I do remember playing in Ontario.
Yep, Hamilton.
Because there, usually I hit my ball to right center, and I hit my left field, hold the fence in left field. And I remember a trip to, let's see. Well, another trip. But I know the bus trips we did not stay overnight. You go maybe 200-300 miles. You come back to Olean.
Yeah.
And we didn't spend the night, so that was interesting too. You go back and forth, One interesting story about my wife and when I was playing with the Olean team. Will Robinson, very thoughtful. He decided to have my wife, my girlfriend at that time, come visit me, but she had to have a chaperone. So my sister was a chaperone, and I thought that was very interesting. In Olean, yeah. So that was very interesting.
And among those, Eugene Scruggs, Bill Hill, Walt Owens, Pedro Sierra, Ron Teasley, and Jake Sanders, honored before the game down on the field.
There are only 4 Negro Leaguers who played in the major Negro Leagues from 1920 to 1948 still alive. Ron Teasley, our friend, being one of them. Willie Mays being one of the other 3. There are 2 others still alive.